Welcome to Montreal Rocks. We're very excited to have, for the second time, Fernando Nuti from New Candies. Amazing, amazing band. They're coming to Montreal May 1st at La Soterania. I can only, where Casa de Popolo is. Anyway, it's going to be an amazing show. I saw them last time. Everybody who was at that show remembers that show very vividly. Pardon the pun, because you were touring the album Vivid. But it was a great show, and we're looking forward to having you return to Montreal and hopefully have an even greater audience because I truly believe that everyone should be seeing you guys live. It's quite impressive.
I hope so. I hope so. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I loved the last time in Montreal, and I'm looking forward to coming back.
So the last time was you were touring the album Vivid. Uh, Now the new candies of 2026 is very different, with the Uncanny Extravaganza out. It's a different sound. If you had to talk to that, the new candies from back in the last time you were in Montreal, do you think that you guys would be surprised of what you are now? Like, is this a natural evolution or is this really a demarcation?
I think it's the evolution has been bigger than I expected. The latest album, I think, has much more new elements compared to what happened in the past. The electronics are much more um, are stronger. I don't know. Are in your face compared to the past. So no, I couldn't predict this record at the time.
And like you're talking, let's talk about that album because it is the last album, and this is the one that you're going to be playing a lot of the songs off of, I'm sure, in this tour. It came together mostly by a remote collaboration and home
Yeah.
studios. Did working that way change how the songs developed compared to maybe writing in the same room? Did it give you like a superpower doing it this way?
Yeah, it was a fresh method, and I think brought a new creativity, a new way of work. The main difference is that Dario now is playing bass.
Yeah.
That Dario was the drummer, and now he's playing bass, and he's also playing synthesizers. And he brought all his influences into the band, and me as well. I shift my taste towards bands like Nine Inch Nails and electronic stuff. Recently, I'm listening to Death in Vegas, for example. But so these new things changed the band. And the new members, Emanuele Zanardo, the new guitarist, I mean, new, he's been playing with us since 2023. Um, he's also a different guitarist compared to the past. I mean, he brought his new influences. I mean, has been an evolution, and yeah, I would say these are the main things that changed the band.
And I guess,
And no, I just wanted to add that normally when you practice, the method is pretty much the same. You just jam until you find something that catch your attention. Uh, Whereas when you write on your own, it's more intimate in a way. So there is a pure element in that, and what I found fascinating, for example, with the song Regicide, that was born out of an idea from Dario in the beginning, like the seed came from Dario. He sent me this instrumental track, and as soon as I put the headphones on, I had the vocal melody came to me. It's of the
okay.
verse and the chorus, just like as is used to happen when we practice. But this time around, I just had the song kind of finished, let's say, in a way, in my head. So I was instantly inspired, and I had a natural vocal melody coming up. So it was really cool. I enjoy the new process. I think it's helpful to keep it fresh.
I do want to talk about that song, but I just want to kind of finish your kind of loop back to this new method of recording, I would assume that when you get a track, like you said, you're alone, so it's a more intimate, personal experience when you're writing as opposed to jamming. I guess you can try different arrangements to see which one fits, so it gives you a little bit more flexibility without kind of feeling, um, I guess, hindered by or maybe afraid of what the others would think, and you can just try things out, which leads to way more experimentation, which seems to give you a way better, not I wouldn't say way better result because I love I have two of your vinyls from the last albums and they're amazing. But this one is great as well. Does it?
Yeah, I think the main difference is that when you get together to practice with a band and you are in the same room and you're playing your instruments, that's the arrangement pretty much. I mean, you have two guitars, the bass and the drums. But for example, for the softer songs, in my opinion, and for the songs that I wrote and we wrote together, sometimes I didn't need real drums, for example, or maybe I just needed one guitar, you know. But it's tricky if you get together and you practice those kind of songs. It's tricky to, put down your instrument because what else are you gonna do? I mean, you are in the same room, you're playing, you know.
Yeah.
So that's the difference, and that's why I felt a freedom that I didn't have before, and for the soft song especially, um, the arrangements in my having I mean studying the arrangements on my own has been better, I think. And just to give you an insight, half of the new record, the drums are virtual drums.
Okay. I want to give you a compliment first of all because your sound is very unique still. I mean, I put on the new record on we're having supper and I just put it on last night. My wife was there. She turned around. She goes, "Oh, New Candies." I didn't even tell her what was playing, but she instantly recognized it. So definitely your sound still has that New Candies vibe, even though it's going in a new direction. Specifically, we talked about the song Regicide, and the rhythms in that song is closer to club music or even disco. But it's still very dark, atmospheric, psychedelic. What I mean, I guess you kind of answered this already, but is there something that drew you more towards that combination? I mean, you're listening to Nine Inch Nails, you're listening to Death in Vegas and more electronic music. Is it really uh, a way to experiment and really open that up, or what was the motivation specifically for that song?
Yeah, I think, but well, talking about the disco part, I think the inspiration came from Some Velvet Morning by Primal Scream and Kate Moss, that
Okay.
song. I remember I thought about them when we were programming that drum beat, and yeah, I think we always wanted to have dancey music. I don't know how to say, but like having a vibe that is close to the disco. I think just because it's fun to see people dancing, I enjoy that, and I needed that ingredient in the set list. In my opinion, I was missing that ingredient, and now we have it. So I'm very happy, and I can tell you that since day one when we started to play that song live, now is already like a hit. I mean, people go crazy with that song, and so I can't wait to play it in North America as well. um yeah, but again, yeah, I think Nine Inch Nails was a big inspiration. Dario mentioned to me like The Hand That Feeds, that song. I mean, of course you get inspired, by different bands and different solution to have a rock song, but also it's nice to merge different genres,
I think so,
and
and
find something new.
some people get mad when you evolve your sound. But to me, it's the ultimate in creative freedom. Like to be stuck in the same sound album after album would be boring. Maybe not as a listener because we maybe crave the same songs, but as an artist or as a creator, you would feel like you're stuck in a rut. But when you kind of expand and explore new things, and when it works, it works. I think it's way more. just shows that the creative side of your band is expanding and allowing you to explore new frontiers, and you're taking us along for the journey. So thank you for that.
Yeah, I think the main inspiration about this are artists like David Bowie and the Dandy Warhols. I appreciate a lot the fact that they released that record, Welcome to the Monkey House, even if it's not my favorite. I enjoy the fact that they made a record that is like from the 80s in a way.
Yeah.
Or Primal Scream, I really like Primal Scream. I like bands that are diverse in their discography, and I think that's a plus. Yeah, I agree with you. I get bored if a band plays record always the same album. Let's say I can listen to bands like AC/DC, or things like that.
Yeah, that doesn't seem to change much over the years. Um, let's talk about the imagery and just the vibe of this album. Uh, it feels fluid, distorted, almost feels like you're underwater. And, living in Venice, did the environment around you influence the mood and the themes of this record?
Yeah, I love Venice. I like that Venice comes through us. I like that. I like the fact that we are from Venice, and when I walk around in the city, I'm always in awe because it's like a natural mirror, and I like the sound of the city because there are no cars and just the sound of water, and I don't know. Yeah, it's really inspiring, and so all the imaginary of the city to get there isn't just the water, but there is also the tradition of carnival, which is not something commercial like people used to portray, but it's really I like to pay attention to the history of carnival and the masks. Commedia dell'arte is called in Italian, and in my mind they are like is our Odyssey. I don't know how to say.
Odyssey.
Those are characters. Yeah, right. Those are characters that are mm, connected a lot to Italian art, in my opinion. So I enjoy having references um, with the city, basically.
And I've seen I was close. I was in Rome, didn't quite make it to Venice yet. I will go visit you. But I see pictures, and sometimes the water literally covers the street. Like you get invaded by the water. Is there a feeling off the album where sometimes um, you feel not you feel that you're drowning, but that the water is like just surrounding you and you can't get away from it.
Well, there are times when that the water reached the level of the sidewalk, let's say,
Yeah.
and it feels like if you keep walking, you walk on the water. It's really weird when that happens. But yeah, the thing with water that I always think about is that the look of it reminds me of dreams. Dreams when you wake up in the morning and you just dream something is blurry in your mind and is like wet in a way you can't really see properly. And I enjoy the fact that when you put something underwater, the look of it becomes dreamy. And so I started to think about all these kinds of things and the fascination that we have, like people, like humans, that we have with the when something happens when tragedies happen on the sea. Like
Mhm.
for example, let's pick up the Titanic. Okay,
Okay.
why everyone is obsessed about the moment where the boat breaks and goes underwater, when the ship, sorry, breaks and goes underwater. I think there is a fascination with that moment of passing between life and death in a way. So I don't know. I in my mind, maybe it sounds a bit chaotic, but in my mind, I'm just connecting all these things together, and I think everything that's underwater is connected to to dreams, and to death in a way.
Yeah.
to put it to put it out easily. Yeah.
And sometimes some people are afraid of the are afraid of water. They're afraid of the sea, mostly because they can't see what's beneath them. But I think when you explore your fears, sometimes it's a way to basically surmount your fears. You have to face your fears, basically. So I think, maybe in a way, your music is a way to kind of face some issues that you need to deal with. I don't know if you write from a, a like, do you tell stories when you're doing the creative process, or you're writing more like an autobiographical, like maybe things that you need to work through, but do you use music to kind of almost face your fears?
I think so. At the end of the day, even if you don't want to, you end up writing about you in a way. And also now that we reached our fifth record, I can see that I am revisiting themes that I already talked in the past. Like like a small example can be the title of our first record, which is Stars Reach the Abyss, the Abyss. So there is already a connection there with the water and the color purple. And I mean, I can see that I'm picking up ingredients from the past because that's how I see things, and that's my way to communicate. And um, but yeah, answering your question, yeah, mainly lyrics are inspired by personal things. Yeah, but
And
sometimes is you're just describing a situation like writing a show for the theater, something like that. It's not always so. There is a little bit of autobiography in everything, but sometimes it's more relevant than others.
but I think as we grow older, I'm realizing this myself, is that we can view something, especially a past, maybe even trauma, we view it in a different way, because maybe we see that something that happened to me, 20, 30, 40 years ago, maybe that was good for me. It shaped me in a way that I wasn't expecting. And then what was once trauma now seems like a part of the process to get me to who I am today. So revisiting the past sometimes can be a very good thing. Uh, I
Yeah,
mean, you don't want to keep hitting the iceberg, but if you can learn from the past and avoid the iceberg, then this is a good thing to me.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
So you finish an album in this new writing style, and you finally listen to it as a whole. Do you hear the music that you intended to make, or does it feel like this was something completely different from what I envisioned in my head when I started?
Well, for some songs it was better, and the reason is the producer we work with, I think, because we work with Maurizio Baggio, and he's like famous for being the producer of Boy Archer and The Soft Moon,
Mhm.
and he was able to enhance our songs in some cases. And another crucial thing is that we started from the demos, our home demos this time around. We haven't started from scratch. Some normally you write you make your demos, then you go to the studio and you start from zero. But this time around we brought all our demos, and from that point onwards we work in the studio, and that thing helped the songs deliver. Um, there are, of course, after you finish a record and some months has passed, I listen back and I'm like, oh, maybe that thing I could have changed it, or that song is a bit too long, whatever. But that's how it is. I mean, you're never happy. But I think it's my favorite record of the band. I'm at the moment, I'm the one I'm more proud of, for
It,
sure.
it's very enjoyable to listen to, I have to say. And you even got to test some of the songs, like you said before, like you got to test it live. One of those is Crime Wave. Uh, did the audience reactions change the way that these songs ended up on the album? Like, did maybe if testing them out helped you kind of refine them, or were they like stuck? That's the song, it worked.
Well, Crime Wave, it's a different example for me because that song we started to play is the only song we played live uh, before recording it. So we tested it already, and playing it live helped shaping it. we changed some parts on the way, and so I think some people were like, "Oh, finally I can hear that song," because they remember it from our shows. Um, but for example, another song that is called Wild Spaghetti West, that song is very different live. Now we arrange it in a more like rock way, let's say, and we we can jam when we play it live.
Hmm.
It's different than the record. We because we in the set list we wanted a moment where we could jam freely, and we picked that song, and it's working really well. So that song is a bit different than the record, but still I enjoyed it. I enjoyed as the record. Yeah.
We look forward to hearing it play live on May 1st. Uh, and like you guys have built a pretty big following now internationally. So it's sometimes funny how some bands from here, I know I interviewed a band from Brooklyn, New York, and they're big in the UK, and then other bands in the UK are big in other places. How is that working with you? Like, what are the countries that are really responding to New Candy's sound?
Australia for sure. I mean, we Melbourne, we had the biggest crowd ever, probably, together with Athens. Like last time we played Athens was mind blowing. Probably my favorite show of last year. But every big city in Europe, basically, Paris, London, I'm sure Madrid is gonna be great, and um, Italy is always difficult for us. Yeah, Italy is difficult. It's the only country that is difficult for us at the moment. But
It,
yeah,
it's funny how
I
that
think this.
often works.
Yeah, I think North America is gonna be good. I'm sure.
Well, you're definitely, the people I've been talking to. My wife is on a mission to get at least 50 people new to your show. So she's been texting
Thank you.
everyone. You got to come with us on May 1st. It's going to be amazing. She obviously loved the first time we saw you. Uh, so you have a promoter in my wife. Let's see how that works out. But we look forward to you coming to Montreal. Do you have any memories from Montreal last time you were here? Did you get to, try the smoked meat, try a poutine, do something truly Montreal?
No, I don't. Yeah, I mean, I can't remember much. I remember for that show we revisited the set list, the order of the songs, but I don't remember much else, to be honest.
It was
I
probably
remember
a short visit. I remember that you didn't have too much time.
yeah,
I
sometimes
met
it's
you
like
outside
that.
with you guys were eating outside before the show, and uh, I think right after you had to take off. So hopefully this time you'll have a bit more time. There's plenty to do in Montreal, so uh, I'll send you some suggestions.
I think live now compared to 2022, we sound not that we sound bad or anything like that, but we sound better. I'm very happy about how the bands sound live now. Um, we we arranged the live set in a professional way. I don't know how to describe it differently, but we are very prepared, and I can hear all the frequencies, and the addition of synthesizers um, is really cool to me. So I'm happy that you're gonna enjoy the new set because I think it's gonna sound better than last time.
Yeah, I mean, I was impressed the first time, so make sure to be there May 1st. I'll put some the links in the bio how to get tickets. There's still tickets available, but really don't miss this chance to see the new candies. It's if you're into anything like dark wave or we know you're heavily influenced by Jesus and Mary Chain and other bands and similar like. Uh, my wife also thought of Stone Roses. Somebody thought of Tame Impala. All these things mixed together. If you're into any of those things, come to see New Candies. You'll be pleasantly surprised. We look forward to seeing you then. So thanks so much for taking the time to talk to us, Fernando.
Thank you for having me. Again, I have never invested so much money to tour before, but also in my mind, I was like, you know what, it's now or never. I mean, the new record is new now. It's not gonna be new in 1 year time.
Yeah.
So I need to do it, and you just jump. And let's see how it goes. I'm not gonna be sad if I don't get the money. I'm not playing for the money at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Of course, it's a job, and I'm aware of that, but I'm not a musician to earn money in the first place, you
I
know?
think if you chase it, it it doesn't come as easy as when you just do it for the love and hopefully it connects.
Yeah, yeah, I think so. I think so. Yeah, I hope so.